Hi, welcome to Shelf Starters. Today we're looking at Thomas Hockleave, and we've just got one of his poems called My Complaint, which is always fun.
Yes.
Been looking forward to this one for a while just because the poem title makes us laugh.
It certainly does. It's very timely for us because we're in the middle of our very nasty Sydney lockdown. So it seems
So you have a lot to complain about.
much to complain about. And the guy doesn't seem to be too far off the mark.
No, actually it was really interesting though, so it's actually not that funny, like very hilarious title, but the actual content is not funny at all. This guy had a mental illness
and was totally cut off from society, basically, as a result.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because it's basically like a treatment of people with mental illness back in the Middle Ages.
Yes,
but it rings quite true today as well. It's kind of like ahead of its time.
Yeah, he sounds like an early Prufrock or even a Salinger kind of character to me.
Yeah, so he seems to have, apparently he went through a period of mental instability before this poem in 1414.
Yes.
And this poem is all about him having come back into society after he's been unwell and feeling like everyone around him is looking at him differently and judging him, and he's lost all his friends.
He sort of stares in the mirror and kind of ponders what people are seeing. Yeah, it's quite awful, isn't it?
Yeah, really sad.
He does really he does really, really well in describing depression. In that thickness of it and the darkness of it, really well. And he uses all that pathetic fallacy at the beginning. It's almost a bit Keatsish.
Yeah. I highlighted a lot of things, like lots of different lines that I thought were interesting.
Yep.
Let's see if I can.
And he said, that early line, Rosie, that there is no stableness in this world.
I highlighted that one too. Stableness in this world, there is none.
Nothing but change and variance, which is kind of, I guess, what we all feel. Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's really, it's quite strangely prescient, isn't it? When was this written? When are we talking?
1400s. Yeah.
Everything you can pretty much feel now.
Yeah, and then he says, though my wit were home come again, men would it not so understand or take. So like even though he feels fine now,
no one's going to accept
fine.
That.
Yeah.
Everyone holds him.
Mine old friendship was all over shake. No one's friends with him anymore.
He does say something really interesting, which I liked. He says it's actually ignorance, doesn't he? He talks about the ignorance of other people. And that is, I think, a really interesting theme. Because I guess that's one thing you could say about modern times, contemporary times, that we have really moved on from that total ignorance.
We have a bit.
A lot. I mean, social media probably has played a large role in that. But, because if you think about it, writers have been trying to explain that for ever and a day, and up until incredibly recent times. I was thinking, I've been talking to lots of young people about Plath, her trying to describe what that feeling is like, that isolation and that fear, that darkness.
Yeah.
But I think there's more understanding and acceptance of that as a notion or a state than there was.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it's the whole thing of like, really most fear is bred from
ignorance,
not understanding. From ignorance.
He keeps going back to that, doesn't he? He talks about uneducated people. Their knowledge is slight. He keeps going back to that same point.
Mm-hmm.
It's what did you think of the actual poetry, the rhyming?
It was
for me, it kind of went with the content, I thought.
Yeah, I think so. It's not like I don't think it's my favorite in terms of like imagery and stuff like that. It was okay, but not beautiful, I guess, not really lyrical. But yeah, but I thought it was good, and certainly like you get into it, you get into the rhythm of it.
Exactly. You get into the rhythm of it, and then you've kind of finished it before you know.
Yeah.
It's quite quick. It kind of speeds it along quite nicely, I think. And certainly he never drops the tone. He never changes the tone.
No, it's very like consistent.
Yeah, and relentless, really. And I guess that's what he's trying to achieve in the first place, because that's apparently the feeling.
Yeah.
Is that relentlessness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated it. I mean, it's not something you say you enjoy it, maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think it's, but really interesting to include it because, including something like about mental illness in the time, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think so too.
And at the end, he does it does have like a bit of hope at the end.
Yes.
Says, "Farewell, my sorrow, I cast it to the cock.
Yeah.
With patience, I henceforth think unpick of such thoughtful disease and woe the lock, and let him out that had me made to psych.
Yes. So
hereafter our Lord God may, if him like, make all mine old affection resort, and in hope of that I will meet comfort."
Yes.
Basically, like that, God will make everyone come back to me eventually.
Yes.
And I'll be happy again.
He's entirely optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, because that's something that I guess isn't always available to someone when they're, well, definitely isn't available when they're in the throes of melancholia or depression. But he obviously does move out of it to have those thoughts. So that's
at this point anyway. Yeah. So I actually I have this collection. It's not all of the works that he's done, but I think it's some of them.
Oh, so are they all poetry, or are they?
Yeah, they're all poetry. A lot of them are translations of like Latin, I think. But then there's some that he's written himself as well. And this is a really like scholarly kind of edition. It's from University of Exeter Press, and it has like long notes on every single poem in here.
The other titles, Rosie? I'm interested.
There's actually another complaint one. There's Complaint Paramount as well.
The greatest of the complaints.
Yeah. And then there's
celebratory ones, or not? Cause for celebration.
No, not really. And there's some of them are in like Latin, and like the titles are in Latin, or other maybe Old French, some of them as well. There's a dialogue. There's most of them, they've left them in like the Latin, like Fabula de Quadram Imperatrice Romana. I've saying that in kind of Italian. I don't know if that's.
So Rosie, the dialogue, who's the dialogue with?
I mean, it's written just like a normal poem, so I'm not really sure.
So it's just called a dialogue.
It's called a dialogue, but it's probably just like it's probably like what we've seen with the Gower and that sort of thing, where it's like more moral dialogue.
Yep.
I think that's probably more what it's like. Yeah, but it's quite hard to like skim read it because it's in the old language, you know.
What goes on in that situation, Rosie? No.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy in the Norton, because you've got the index, the margin in the
gloss.
You've got the gloss, exactly the word I'm looking for. And so
yeah,
it's very, very easy because you can just glance across and it's quite clear then. But
yeah,
is that one like that you've got, the collection? Does it have a gloss?
It does have that, but yeah, it does have that, and it's much easier to read than that other Gower one that I had. That was like not possible at all. But like, yeah, I still think you have to concentrate a little bit to get what's happening, even with the gloss there. But it's good. Yeah, it says he was translating a lot from Latin and French as well.
Yes, well, I find you can always feel the French. You can see where the French is.
Yeah, definitely. His themes are women, for them or against them.
Right.
Money, always short of it. Isolation and suffering. Causes various, but always painful. The pains of hell and the joys of heaven. The serendipitous nature of literary production. Writer as translator, reporter, or even as gossip.
Oh, that's interesting. translator, reporter, or gossip. That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
So yeah, I quite liked Hockley. I thought that was a nice little
I did too.
change.
But then
yeah.
we're going to some religious allegory after this.
So next is a big one. And this is one that is like quite well known, I think. Although I didn't know about it before we did the Norton, but then since then it came up in that TV show we were watching. So
The Chair. Yeah.
The Chair. Yeah, Piers Plowman, which is a longer, I mean, it's not super long, but like longer than these poems, allegory of, about religion. So be interesting.
Yes, that'll be good.
Written in verse.
Yes. Yep. So
but there's gonna be a lot to unpick there.
Yes, much more dense than what we've just done. That's okay.
Yeah.
We're ready for it, Rosie.
It's exciting.
Try a more dense one. That's actually good.
Let us know if you have read my complaint. Does it stand up with your modern day feelings about the world right now?
Or do we have cause to complain further?
I think we probably do.
Yeah.
Probably.
No, actually.
Anyway, I'm
not sure. I would like to the one about the writer though.
Oh, just the poet as gossip, you mean?
Yeah. Or report.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can lend you this copy and you can see all the different poems in there.
Yeah.
I think I read some of them. I don't think I finished it because it was quite intense.
Yes.
But
yeah, I'm imagining what he was like.
Yeah. He's not exactly although like some of it is kind of wishy.
Yeah.
But still it's not like he's not a light author.
No, and I'm sure he was a very somber person to spend time. Yeah. That's definitely his tone. Yes, definitely. It was really interesting.
Okay, thanks everyone for watching and see you again next time. Bye.